Applying for a student visa in Japan. I honestly felt like I struggled more than I should have, and I want to tell you guys a little bit about the experience so far. I have been to language school before. It was about 2 years ago at this point, but I only went for 3 months, so I did not need a student visa to attend Japanese language school in Japan. However, this time around, I'm going there for at least 6 months, and because I'm staying there longer, I need a student visa. Anything over 3 months basically. So the way that I'm applying is the same as before. The last time I used a website called Gogo Nihon, which is, I'm pretty sure a lot of people also use that, but there's other alternatives that you can use as well. But that's the one I personally use. So I'm using it again, and this time it's a lot harder than I expected for the process. But don't get me wrong, it's not like super hard or anything. It's just a lot of documents, a lot of things that you have to gather. And 2 days ago was basically when I was doing the final steps for submitting all the documents to get the visa approved and everything. And when I was reading the instructions, I really tried my best to stick to exactly what they said to do. And one of the instructions was to use glue sticks to basically attach on like a passport-like photo onto the application for the visa. But I couldn't find a glue stick. For whatever reason, glue sticks are just extremely difficult to buy these days. Either that or I went to the exact wrong stores, because what happened was at first I tried to look for if I had a glue stick at the house. I did, but it was all dried out. Asked my cousins about it. They also had theirs like none anymore, dried out. And then I went to buy some at Lowe's, which is very similar to Home Depot. Asked the workers, they told me that there were some, and then I went to go find it. And then I asked a different worker, and then they said, oh yeah, we don't have glue sticks. And I was so confused at that point, but I did look around and they did not have glue sticks. Then I went to a Target and I found no glue sticks there as well, even though I literally saw on the website that they had it. So I was just so confused about like, because I do have a glue gun, or I have other things that are like adhesives that could work, but they said you should use a glue stick and don't use glue dots. I don't even know what glue dots are, but I ended up just buying this multi-purpose Elmer's glue that you used in school, and I used this. So hopefully everything goes okay, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter too much, right? But either way, I mean, I'll update, I'll put it in the comments if everything went through properly. I should know by next week if I have to redo the sending the application and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a lot of stuff that I had to print out, and I don't really print these days. I had to also print out the passport-like photos, and the printer that I have at home can't do that properly. And then I tried a different printer that I had access to because of family and friends, but that didn't work either. It turned out really poorly. So I went to Walgreens and then asked them, can I print this out? And they said, no, they can't print out passport-like photos. And I was like, what? Okay. And I asked them if they knew a place where I can do that. And then they said, oh, maybe CVS. So I went into CVS basically half expecting to have to leave and find a different place, because the whole day was just me basically not finding what I needed and just substituting with something else. So it was a struggle. But luckily, they did allow you to print out passport photos. However, they had it for like $16 to print out like a whole bunch of the same passport photos. But I was like, okay, that's way too expensive. So what I did instead was I took this at home myself, because I know photography. I have done photography at a wedding before. I've done photography for headshots for people before. So I just basically did a headshot for myself. And when I had this and, exported it, I decided to export it on a grid of a lot of photos. Basically, I cloned this multiple times. So then just in case I messed up in the cutting process, I would have extras. So that's what I did. And I made it the size that was just 50 cents to print out. So luckily they have that option, and the process went smoothly from there. And it did only cost 50 cents, thankfully, and not $16. So that was near the end step. Then I didn't bring a scissor, and I had to like cut everything, like just go back and forth all over the place. And it was such a process. I struggled so much, honestly, and I feel like it shouldn't have been that hard. It's just because I'm so inexperienced with a process similar to this that I was just like, am I doing this right? Is this like, there are still some wipe around here because I don't want to cut too closely, otherwise it might deform the photo. There's so many steps where I was just like, oh, I'm wondering if I'm doing this exactly the way they want me to. Because I do kind of get like that sometimes where I assume the worst. I get a little nervous and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I don't do this right? What if I'm just messing things up and I have to redo it? So oftentimes in my own head, I just think, yeah, I'm like messing this up right now. And I get a little, I don't know what the word is, stressed. There you go. That's probably the best word to use. I just get stressed sometimes. But anyways, that was just a big part of this week, and I wanted to talk about just a quick weekly review. So the first step of our weekly review is always to look at our ultimate goal, or the map of getting to our ultimate goal. And our first goal basically, or our first ultimate goal, is basically to start a creative business based around YouTube and based around the stuff that I already do. So for instance, very soon I will be trying to take my voiceover and voice acting stuff to the next level. That's going to be a 30-day challenge coming up, and hopefully I can earn more income through that. My first, I guess, milestone for income is just to reach 5K a month for our stuff, our creative stuff, which currently is around 1K-ish. So right now it's very tiny, and if I am to survive or reach, the place that I want to be, because this is kind of like a dream of mine, to sustain myself doing my own thing, doing the things that I really care about and are meaningful to me, I have to step it up. And so this week, the way I progress towards that goal is by uploading to my main channel again. My main channel has been basically quiet for the past, I think 6 to 7 months while I was working on my audiobook. So I finally uploaded there again, and I think that is a very good first step. It's just a warm-up video talking about the challenge that I did of uploading every day for 30 days on my main channel. Very fun challenge, but also difficult, and also in some ways a failure of a challenge, because my average view count, I think, for that challenge was around 200 to 300 views. And that's terrible, honestly, considering my first few videos did way better than that from like 6 to 7 years ago, which is just insane to me. But it is a failure that I'm facing, and I understand it. It is part of reality, and now I'm trying to move on. Next video is going to be how I learned 300 kanji in 30 days. And that's a video I think will probably get more views over time as long as I make it correctly. So I'd say that's progress and part of the small wins in terms of what I accomplished. It did take a lot of mental, I guess, work to get through the pains of just facing my failure, basically. So that was tough. Honestly, it's been tough, but I feel like because I faced it now, I'm able to move forward in a much stronger way, honestly. So let's hope that continues and I don't have episodes of enormous self-doubt again. You know what, that's probably going to happen again, but either way, I know how to deal with it better. So moving forward, I should be okay. I think in the realm of just moving towards the ultimate goal, this is probably a video I'll make for tomorrow or right after this one, so I won't talk about it too much. But this whole week I've been thinking about whether I should continue with daily posts on my second channel, which is this channel. And I think the answer is very clear to me now, especially after making my main channel video. I don't think I'm going to continue daily posts. I don't think it's going to help me with where I want to head towards, which is higher quality videos that are viewed more. Because in the end, those are the videos that will help me get to my ultimate goal of like actually building a true creative business that thrives instead of struggles. So yeah, that's a big one. But on the horizon, after we finish the kanji video, we do have plans of making a more premium-like course, or the best course I'll make so far, which is going to be about the audiobook creation process, since honestly that was a huge learning process for myself, and I do think I have a lot to share that is very valuable. And I'm probably going to price it, at least the launch price is going to be like ridiculously low. I honestly truly believe once it's out and you see the price, it's like a no-brainer to get it if you plan on creating an audiobook, because you will probably make back that amount very easily. But We'll see. We'll see. That's part of the plans. It's not going to happen next week, but it'll happen the week after when we start building the course. That will be a true move towards our ultimate goal. But right now, I'd say I do need to finish this kanji video because it's just on the list of things to do and I really want to get it done. And it's also a way to direct people towards my audiobook, which I worked way too hard on not to at least try to promote a little bit. I worked on that thing for 6 months. Oh my God. But progress and small wins, that's basically it, I'd say. And then review lessons learned list. Let's do this quickly. I'd say that the biggest lesson or realization I made during this week was a consequence of me finishing my main channel video. I wrote here, whatever I decide to do, my head follows. And I think that's super true with my life so far. Whatever I decided on, which was posting daily for my second channel, I would always think about like what I would post that day and the topics I would post. My head naturally went there. I didn't need to ask it to do it. It just did it. Same with like learning the Rubik's Cube and solving it under 1 minute. Same with learning the kanji. Same with most of my challenges, unless they were the challenges that I found to be not very helpful or that I just did not like doing. Then I would just stop doing the challenge and move on to the next one. But whatever I set my mind to, my mind starts working on it. And I think that I need to start setting my mind towards working towards the ultimate goal and keeping focus on that rather than posting daily on my second channel and me allocating brain space into posting daily. Because I do think that by saving that brain space, it helps with making the other thing better. It just does. I've noticed that. And I've noticed that had I just instead, I said this in my main channel video about my failure. Had I just instead spent the same amount of time in front of the camera working on a single video for let's say like 7 videos worth or 7 days worth, spend that same amount of time into one video instead, it would just be a significantly better video, I think. And I could have created things that were much more useful, basically. I think another realization this week also was I've been thinking about YouTube a lot and I've been watching YouTube a lot. And I basically was not able to maintain zero entertainment this week because I watched too much YouTube. But what I realized a long time ago, or that came back up recently actually, because every time it's my birthday, I end up making up games for my friends to play, like physical outdoor games that involve like Nerf guns often, and that involve tossing like cherry balls, like handballs at each other. There's a lot of rules that I like making up and having and because it's my birthday event, my friends humor me and they totally do exactly what I say. So it's fun to play those types of games and to also just be creative with it and make it. So after that happened this year, I wrote down on a note, on a reminder that popped back up every month that said, we really have a love or passion for just making games, making up games. There's something there that I need to utilize. Every time it came back up, and as I keep doing these challenges, as I'm like thinking about how I can do it better with my friends too, because the 100 TikTok for 30 days challenge, even though that challenge was a failure, I still at least try to involve my friend and we try to do it together in some ways. But this morning I was thinking about how back then when I was in college, I was a dance choreographer actually for a club, not like a good one, but I was a dance choreographer. I had to audition for it. They accepted me. I was happy, and people considered our dance to be fun and good. But the point was, whenever I made stuff, I always thought about how to involve different people in different ways. I didn't like choreography where everyone was doing the same exact thing. Because when I watched ABDC, my favorite crew is Quest Crew. I think it might be a lot of people's favorite crew, but I also really like Jabbawockeez. But oftentimes in ABDC, whenever they did their routine, a lot of them would do the same exact thing. And I always felt like that was a waste because you have so many people. Whenever Quest Crew dance, usually people are doing different things all the time. And I always thought that was so interesting. And I feel like when me and my friend did the TikTok challenge, it was sort of like the version where we're doing the same exact choreo and we don't even need to be doing it together. It doesn't even matter. Like, it's still the same choreo. Of course, it looks super cool if you have like 50 people doing the same choreo and everyone's in sync. But the point of the analogy is to say that I want to do a dance where we're doing things differently and we need each other to be there for the dance to actually be complete. So those are the challenges I'm thinking about, and I'm trying to add like a competitive factor to it, add stakes, add things that make it more fun. And I have experience doing that with the games that I make up for my birthday, and I'm thinking like all of these pieces are coming together in a way where I do feel like these are the future videos I want to create. And they can be related to what I'm doing at the moment too. For instance, learning Japanese. How do I change something like learning 300 kanji in 30 days into a challenge where perhaps there's more participants, a judge, and then stakes at hand? How do I change it to a game almost where there's a storyline, there's a winner, there's losers, there's a progression that can be seen more than just me being like, oh yeah, I did this and that's it. And this is how you can do it too, which is not a bad video necessarily, but I just think it's missing a lot of the elements that I personally find fun and want to do. And I've always been talking about how I want to involve other people in my videos more, but I just haven't had much experience doing that. So that's why I feel like when we did the TikTok challenge, it was designed so poorly in terms of, all we did was meet up again and talk about it. But it's a challenge that could have been done alone. So I need to think of challenges where it literally cannot be done alone, or at least the format of it that makes it fun and cool and nice to do cannot be done alone. So that's what I'm going to try to do for the future, especially once I'm in Japan. Hopefully I find someone that is willing to do these challenges with me, because if I'm in language school, obviously there are going to be people there, my classmates, who want to learn Japanese, who are learning Japanese, and hopefully one of them's willing to participate in my future videos. And then I'll probably ask like a friend that's Japanese to judge us or something, and come up with like a competition where, we have to learn a set amount of things in preparation. And it probably has to be shorter. It can't be 30 days. Committing to 30 days is extremely difficult. So perhaps like a week or less than that, even just a day, like starting off in the smallest version possible. That's a lesson I learned from my audiobook. Like what I think is small is not small enough, because I thought my audiobook was going to be 3 hours. It ended up being 12 hours. So whatever I think is small, I need to make it even smaller. The smallest version possible where it's still fun and still good to try and do. So I think a day is probably what I need to try to do. But yeah, but I tried that actually in my challenge for the main channel video. The kendama was meant to be one day, as well as the Rubik's Cube, that was one day, and then juggling 3 balls was also another day. But I think I just poorly formatted those videos, so they just weren't good videos, especially since I mostly edited them in one day or 1 to 2 days. I think for the kendama video, I had like 3 days, because I would film it and then I would do a different video and then I would edit it a bit slower. But yeah, there was a lot that went on in my head this past week, and I really think that if I can manage to pull this off, this is the best direction we can head towards, because I just feel like it's way more fun. It still embodies the spirit of like the challenge that we've been doing the past year, and it follows what we are actually doing, which is studying Japanese and whatnot. And if the voice acting or voiceover stuff goes really well, then we can include that as another thing that we do, because if it does go well, I'm going to try my best to make it go well and make it a thing that helps me with income. So no matter what, something's gonna happen out of it. And I think it's gonna be interesting to try to connect with people online for that, because I do think that's one of the easier things about voiceover, is that you can do it from anywhere, and probably collaborating with people is very easy, because you just send each other voice files. I believe it's pretty simple. So yeah, that's gonna be fun to try as well. Anyways, the next step for the weekly review is the system check. Just asking myself, am I being time efficient, and am I maximizing, what I'm doing with my actions? And I'd say no. I'd say this week was also quite chaotic, and I think that I really need to get back on things, and I'm going to try my best to do so starting the new week. I think I'm going to be repeating that statement a lot, honestly, because it's always a struggle until I reach that point where I feel like I'm back to that best self, where I somehow am just super capable and everything. I felt that when I was in Japan, so I know that version of me exists. It's just really hard to access him sometimes, especially when my world view of things and my self view is somewhat shattering because of the failure that I had to face, basically. So yeah, it was quite tough. But like I said, I feel like I am better at handling it now. So if that's true, I really do think the week that's coming up is going to be pretty solid. Oh yeah, also I did the placement exam for Japanese, the language school, and it was basically just online, like a form that I needed to fill out. And we still have the interview coming up where we actually talk to them one-on-one, and we're doing a challenge for that, so that should be fun. Just like a 3-day challenge, very simple. But that's what happened last week. We got one video done and that placement exam done, and then some Japanese language school visa application stuff done. So those were the main things we got done. And then the coming week, what we're going to focus on is the stuff that we didn't finish, which is the kanji video, the interview, and then the Skillshare class that we need to create. So those 3 things. After we get those 3 things done, that's when we go full focus on like the voice acting stuff and the course creation for my audiobook. And that should be interesting. That's going to be, yeah. And then we'll stabilize like Japanese practice. But I don't think we're going to do like a legit challenge, or we're not going to do a competitive challenge or the stuff I've been talking about that I want to try out until we're in Japan. I just think it'll be easier to find participants that I actually see in person once we're in Japan. But of course, I want to meet other people who are creators as well, because a part of me doubts that my classmates, maybe one of them might be a creator. That's what happened last time, and I didn't find that out until like literally the last week of school. So I need to be better about that this time around, because yeah, last time I didn't have any of these ideas. Like 2 years ago, I was not thinking about any of these things. That's when I was like burnt out and I was just like making videos occasionally for fun. But yeah, it's a huge change 2 years ago, me versus me now. Okay, that's it for this weekly review. It's pretty long, but I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.